I think our audience is growing.
Yeah, sure sounds like it.
Yeah, greetings and salutations, everyone. You have tuned in to Hot Flash Universe here at UBN Go. We're still here in the heart of Hollywood in the Gower Gulch, and I'm your host, Walt Lusk, with none other than Barbara Bishop.
And that is me. Hi.
Emmy nominated, even.
Oh, yes.
And we are a show about women over 50, and no, I'm not. So, well, I am over 50, but I'm not a woman.
We're talking about seasoned citizens.
Seasoned citizens.
Senior citizens.
Seasoned citizens. Yes, I've always done that one.
Yes.
And our topic today is very apropos for the season. And it is holiday fatigue. And no, we're not going to talk about stress. We're just going to talk about fatigue.
Although that word might come out every once in a while.
Oh, yes, it will. So, just a couple of statistics, not that we're not going to do a few, or at least I won't. It's amazing that almost 70% of the people are stressed and fatigued by feeling they have lack of time over the holidays.
That makes sense.
And the same amount are stressed for lack of money. What I find amazing, Barb, is there was an article last week about the fact that 28% of Americans are still paying off last Christmas.
I'm sure. I mean, I don't know what the credit card, situation looks like, but, they just charge it. And the way these retailers come at you, it's incredible.
And along those lines, over 50% are stressed about the pressure to give or get gifts.
I I check my email all the time, and I would say 60% or more of my emails are to, buy now.
I have actually
today only.
I have a separate email address for retailers and other stuff that's not related. And I
need to do that.
I love it because you get these phishing things, Amazon regarding your order. And I thought, I did place one, right? And then I look at the email address, and it's my phishing one, not my official Amazon one. And I can tell right away, or it's like we have a problem with your checking account, and I look at the email address, and it's like, oh, nice going. So it really, really helps and separates stuff that, you don't have to read the stuff until like much later. If you don't want to.
I wake up in the morning, I read my emails, and I have 230, and 200 of them are Neiman Marcus. Savings up to 90% on top of the other savings. I'm like,
needless markup, huh?
Whatever.
And what's crazy is, since I'm a numbers guy, 28% of Americans are still paying off last year. That means in 3 years, you are going to be having basically 100% of what you've bought for the last 3 years. You're saddled with a bunch of debt.
And that's what they want.
Yes, it is. And we're getting older and don't like crowds, and so sales of Black Friday are down in the brick and mortar, and of course we have Cyber Monday. Now, talking about finances, I never dawned on me, but literally in 2 very, very short months, literally about 6 weeks, we have 3 major events financially. Okay, we have Thanksgiving. Then we have, Black Friday, Cyber Monday. You got to buy all those goodies, and then of course we have Christmas. So.
And then the day after Christmas. Woohoo!
That's where all the returns are. So, and you have after Christmas sales. I mean, I know a lot of families, they save money, they want to buy this, and they know darn well it's going to be cheaper after Christmas.
That's right.
So they go, okay, we'll just buy it tomorrow. I mean, what difference does it make one day?
The gift, like if everyone gets gift cards, it's like they go right after that. So it's still crazy.
Yeah. One year I had a girlfriend, she wanted to buy a TV at Best Buy in Culver City. And so we literally, after
LA,
Thanksgiving,
folks.
Very LA-ish, West LA. And so after Thanksgiving, I think we got there about 11 o'clock at night, and the line for Best Buy was literally around the outside of the mall.
Crazy.
For most of it. And I'm shaking my head going, okay. And we went inside, and we were there till about 3 or 4 in the morning, and it might as well have been 3 or 4 in the afternoon.
3 or 4 in the morning? What time did you get there?
11.
Wow.
Yeah, the mall was packed, and it might as well have been 3 or 4 in the afternoon because there was a band playing in the middle of the mall. Everybody was open. They had sales till 6 in the morning. It was insane.
Yeah.
And of course, what she wanted didn't exist. And I go, look, I guarantee you next week it'll be for the exact same price online, because if you think the manufacturer of what you want, let alone the retailer wants to sell you, is out the day after Thanksgiving, and we haven't even gotten to December yet, forget about it.
Forget about it. Absolutely.
So, that's where we're going. So, I want to touch a little bit about, since we're seasoned citizens, a little bit about technology. Makes me feel old, but 100 years ago,
Oh, this is cool.
a holiday contact with distant relatives either didn't happen or happened through infrequent snail mail. Ultimately, you're stuck with your locals.
That was my grandma.
Yeah. And then 50 years ago, a long-distance phone call was a really big deal. And, it was those high-tech connectiveness. And they offered reasonably immediate communications.
And I remember those days when we all, huddled up to the phone and each person had, 2 seconds to say hello because it was so expensive. So, yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah, and the breakup of AT&T in 1984 fixed all that. Today, we have instant everything.
Yep.
We have instant global, free, wireless, full color, high def, Skype, FaceTime, and the whole thing. So in theory, technology has improved our connectiveness. But again, as I've talked about before on Facebook, are we really, in terms of Facebook and Fakebook, are we connecting or collecting?
Yeah.
And along those lines, texting is a source of stress. And I think basically it's a lot of stress over the holidays as well. Okay, for over a third of the population. The vanishing mid-conversation frustrates people the most, followed by poor grammar. So, with photos, videos, emojis, GIFs, countless other bells and whistles causing us to keep our heads buried in our devices constantly. It was deemed that the average person looks at their cell phone over 250 times a day.
Oh, and I'm probably like, double that. So, well,
yeah, I've been with when you're driving. No, I'm just kidding.
And, it's very interesting because I'll, like how I say I get emails, today only 90% off of the 90% off. And I also get texts like that too. I personally think that's invasive.
Well, you can type stop.
Yeah.
And mostly, technically, they are supposed to cease sending stuff, and most of them do.
But, I don't get as many as I do, on email, but I'm still getting them.
And there's a lot of pressure, and just to keep it short, to respond. If you respond to family in an hour or two, that's okay. Friends are supposedly in a couple of hours, and some say it's 4 hours. So in other words, there's not only pressure to respond to them all, and some people just go forget it and they turn it off altogether, and as they should.
Oh, well, that's not me. I have to respond to every one of them, being the little socialite I am.
I appreciate that. And want to talk about the fact that, during the holidays and stress, we are a radically sleep-deprived nation. And one of the simple, very, very effective solutions is napping.
Yeah.
I take a power cat nap every day. And the thing is, though, it has to be a nap. It can't be going to sleep for 2 hours for many, many reasons, other than if it's longer than 44 minutes, many times you will go into the next phase of sleep, which is your REM stage, and that will impact your sleep at night. But it's been proven that if you nap just 20, 30 minutes, you're re-energized. It improves your memory and job performance and your mood. You have less stress. You're more alert. And it's better than an energy drink.
Yeah, and I think it's for anytime. But specifically, people say they have holiday blues. What's holiday blues? What is a holiday blue? So we did a little bit of research and a couple things. I mean, quite a few things actually. We get sad and lonely and sometimes angry. And then facts that can contribute to this is things that you would probably know already, but, associating the holidays with unresolved family issues, that's always, not always, but I would say, you see your family.
It's an issue.
Once a year, and, after 2 hours you're fighting. And then sometimes it's the feeling of sadness, loneliness, depression, in an effort to maintain that holiday cheer. So you're up when you see people, but then when you're alone, you're sad, and that has happened to me before. And then let's just facing the loss of a loved one, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a dog, that was there the year before. So that definitely contributes to holiday blues. And then, one of the things I think I've experienced a lot is the unrealistic expectation
That's a huge one. That's
of
huge.
of family and friends and just Christmas in itself. You see, commercials with a little snow falling and everyone cozy and all of that stuff. And yeah, it's sweet and lovely, but it's not real. And you want to have that kind of Christmas. At least I did. And you get bummed if you don't have it. Being away from family and friends is just, the opposite, obviously. But if you don't have family and friends and you're alone for the holidays, that's another holiday blues kind of thing. Sometimes people reflect on losses or disappointments, prior to New Year's,
Yes. Yes.
just because it's that time of year. And so holiday blues will kind of rear its ugly head. And then coping with changes in family obligations, especially after a divorce or marriage, it's just so different. And so if you're divorced, it's kind of weird how to handle that if you have kids. Are you together anyway? Or are you separate?
Well, my kids, they're older now, but when they were younger, we divvied up holidays. For example, one year they would have it from Christmas Eve to noon Sunday, and vice versa. And now that they're older, they manage it real well themselves, and they can go where they want. And
that's
I've been
nice.
lucky that they hang out with their dad still.
You know-
And one thing is really interesting about the managing stress. A lot of people, since there's so much festivities going around, is they drink more,
Yep, absolutely.
and that
yeah.
can have issues all its own.
Well, and it's not even like, okay, it's Christmas, I'm going to drink. You're just out. Everyone wants to, toast to the holidays, and sometimes people can't handle just one toast.
No, and
So-
I've told my daughters that alcohol is really four things: added expense, added responsibility, added calories, and added drama.
That's a good one. Listen to that. Listen to Uncle Walt here.
Yes, expense, responsibility, calories, and drama.
Cool. We'll put that up on the website. So, a couple things. So I listed a bunch of things for holiday blues, but there's things that you can do to counteract that. And number one is manage your expectations. So, so it's not going to snow here, okay? We're in LA, it's not going to snow. So forget about the white Christmas. Forget about Santa. Sorry, guys, I don't know how many kids are listening, but Santa doesn't exist. Sorry. And then, like the whole warmth and the family and all that. Your family's your family, so it's not like a movie. So managing your expectations, I think, is really, really important.
I agree.
Also, I think you can talk to this, finding a way to keep the kids busy when you're preparing for the holiday.
Well, the old standby right now is probably technology, right? Throw a movie or turn on the television, right? Or give them that iPad or let them play with their phones. But it's been proven, and if you want to know a really, really big secret, there was an article that came out last week about the fact that nannies in Silicon Valley have to sign agreements that they are going to keep their children away from technology.
Wow.
They can't be on the tablets, computers and phones. And the reason is because the folks in Silicon Valley know full well what it does to people, and they don't want it done to their children.
And what does it do?
Well, first off, it's sitting, having a tablet or a computer sitting in a 3-year-old's lap
Yep.
is not healthy. Because it's sitting there and Wi-Fi is going through them and everything, and it's not healthy. And it's better for them to go out and play, for goodness sakes.
Yeah, well,
right.
Hopefully
And that's what I did. So board games.
Yeah.
As my daughter said earlier on, she said there was only 3 games we knew of. Was like Monopoly, Clue, and one other game.
Candyland.
Candyland, and they were talking about how they went to this game store where basically you pay like $5 to get in, and you can buy the games, but you can sit down and play them with people.
That's cool.
Yeah,
We
it's
should
here
do
now.
that
It's
again. I mean,
in here in Israeli. So that's always fun, monotony, but there are other games. Reading, make them read a book. It's amazing. My daughters read Harry Potter every year. They just went to the Universal Studios and had a blast. I'd never been.
Cool.
I mean, there's a whole world of fantasy. I mean, whether you like Harry Potter or not, there's other books. But then just throwing them in front of the computer and interacting. Or you know what? You can if you're going to make cookies, for example,
Yeah.
make them with the kids.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're going to make mess with the flour, but you know what?
But it's so
it's
fun.
a memory. It's something they're going to
exactly.
do. They're going to learn. They're going to have
Tradition.
fun, and you know what? They'll not forget it.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
so what if the cookies look a little goofy? It's a cookie, for goodness sakes. You're going to eat it
You're gonna
anyway.
Eat it anyway. Exactly. I think one of the things that moms, us, the over 50 ladies should do is really, grandmas, yes. Well, I guess maybe moms, some grandmas. Allow yourself some time alone. One of the things that most women do is they go from one activity to another, and they're really good at it, but at the same time, there's a point where you need to just relax and be by yourself and not have to talk to anyone, and that will really avoid those holiday blues.
A couple of suggestions on that regard is if you just feel so overwhelmed, and even if you have kids, just put the shoes on, put the jackets on, put the hat on, and go outside.
Whether it's a white Christmas or not.
Doesn't matter. Just being outside and being away from the house and all the stress is, even if it's just for 15 minutes, right? Set your watch on your phone for 10 minutes and go anywhere, and then the alarm goes off, turn around and go back home. If there is snow or whatever, try and make a snowman. Again, make memories, right? Go for a massage. Or as we've talked about in previous shows, and in do-it-yourself skincare, take a bubble bath.
Do a facial. I mean, there's all kinds
Go get a
of
facial.
wonderful things that you can do that I have done.
They're not expensive. They don't take a lot of time.
Yeah.
But again, this is not a race. It is a marathon. And if you're pooped out toward the end or along the way, you aren't any good to yourself or anybody else.
And you really don't have to. I mean, everyone thinks you have to rest and be ready, but you don't. The other thing is as you're working with family and friends, this high pressure political time is crazy, and most likely you're gonna, hopefully not, but politics will come up, and we recommend avoiding them because that just causes additional stress. There's so much to talk about, and you don't even know what's real. I mean, I'm sure you can talk about that one.
Well, yes, I can. I am more of a junkie on that, but I don't watch cable. I don't watch television. I don't have cable. I don't have television. I read other alternative sources. But there is so much fake news. I'm sorry, it's true. And you know what? Over 40% of family members have had issues because Donald Trump is president, but he's our president, and I have friends that I have better friends with now because of Donald Trump. So my experience has been different, but it doesn't matter. You can just take all that shenanigans and you can table it for a day. I would recommend you turn off the television. And I'm just gonna be blunt. Turn off CNN, turn off PSNBC, and any news show, even Fox, for God's sakes. Just turn off any news. It's all bad, and it's not festive.
Not festive at all, and you don't want to be listening to this as you're making your Christmas cookies.
No, you do not.
Maybe Christmas music.
And they want us to be divisive. That's part of what they want us, because if we're not united as I don't want to get too esoteric, a family, human race, whatever, that means it's better for them. Let's just leave it at that.
So the other thing that I think women don't do as much as they should, I know I don't, is asking for help. Oh yes, I can do everything, and I don't need any help from anyone. And
I'm Superwoman.
And I do that all the time. But when you do ask for help from your husband, from your friends, from your kids, it really does help the situation, and you don't have to feel as stressed. I know. No one can do it as good as you can, but that's okay.
Again, I have a saying: perfectionism is fatal.
Yeah.
There is sometimes a vast difference between the perfect job, the perfect setting at the table, and one that's just it's good enough. We're not trying to settle or cut corners hugely, but you know what? If there's a little messiness somewhere, I mean, they know you got kids and family and grandkids and everything else. You know what? The focus isn't the fact that you've got a perfect house and a perfect table. It's who's coming and the family.
And it's actually endearing, I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect.
No, it doesn't.
The other thing that I have learned over the last couple of years is saying no. Every day I get another invitation to a Christmas party or an open house, and and I want to say yes to every one of them, and I do, or I used to, and I would go, or I got too busy and I couldn't go, and I felt bad, and so it's okay to say no to anything that you feel that's going to cut into your time.
I think a better word and putting it in perspective would be boundaries.
Absolutely.
People are going to respect your boundaries. And if you're not looking out for you, ultimately, who will? Yeah, you've got your family, you've got your husband, your spouse, or your boyfriend, girlfriend. But ultimately, you've got to understand your limits, not only in terms of time, but where you're going and stuff. Maybe you don't want to go to that party and you're just going because, again, say no. They'll be mad at you, but I guarantee you in the long run, they'll respect you for it.
Yeah. And, of course they want you to come, but, they have so many other people that are there anyway. So, you don't have to feel guilty. Trust me.
You'll be missed, but you know what? You won't be as missed as, no offense, but they've got other stuff to do, right?
That's right. I think really the bottom line to a lot of this is just going with the flow.
Yes.
You know what you have to do. There's going to be things that get in the way, and that's okay. And I think there's more that Walt, the research king, has found out about as well. I mean, a couple things like if you're married, make sure that you're kind of in alignment with
yes. Yeah, when you're going to an event, make sure you and your spouse are on the same page. Doesn't mean you have to agree, but you know what? If you've got somebody who not only has got your back, but is with you on things, it makes it a whole lot better and a whole lot stressful for you. Don't worry about them. We said you got to look out for you. There's a book I can recommend. It's not a holiday book, but Robert Ringer wrote a book a long time ago. It was called Looking Out for Number One, and it's been rewritten. It's an easy read. And the bottom line, it's not about narcissism, but if you don't look out for you, who will?
That's
and that
right.
means in life, in family, in business, everything.
So getting back to stress. See, I said the word, sorry. But the most stressful parts of the holidays are, guess what? Guess what?
The most stressful part?
Yeah.
Probably the actual dinner and the culmination of everything you put together.
So 56% is gift shopping.
Oh, yes.
And then what goes with that is the crowds and lines.
Yeah, we hate crowds.
I hate crowds, which is why I do most of my shopping online. And then, just getting the house ready, cleaning, that's pretty stressful too. And then knowing what to get people scored 38%, and cooking. So we've got shopping and cleaning and cooking. Although I love cooking and I love shopping, so I don't know what they're talking about.
Well, the cooking is, is everybody going to like what I cooked? Is it going to come out okay? Once I've, gone and gotten all this stuff, did I get all the right stuff?
Yeah. And so there's another statistic which is interesting. We talked about this. The pressure to have a perfect Christmas, whatever that is to anyone, is 41%, which is a big number.
49. It's almost
49?
41% of Americans
for moms.
confess working
Yes.
too hard to achieve the perfect Christmas.
Yes,
Yeah.
right. So 50% of moms
Put a
are stressing
lot of
over the
pressure
perfect Christmas.
on themselves.
Yep, it's crazy. So what about unwinding, like we talked about some of the things that we can do. Well, there's a couple more, and these are statistics from surveys. So listening to music really helps. And I would say, listening to calming music, maybe not Def Leppard or anything like that. Well, maybe. Watching a favorite show or film. I love to do that, especially like, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer or Miracle on 34th Street or, any of those really cool classics while the cookies are baking and the turkey's in the oven or you're mixing something.
Yeah, I have friends that have their favorite music when they cook and their favorite movie they watch when they cook.
Yeah. Taking a nap, that
There
is,
it is.
we talked about that, and
it's
nap
huge.
is just the best.
It's huge.
Enjoying a snack. Well, enjoying a snack obviously is good, but, just make sure you don't eat too much of it. Now, the 25 most stressful things. We had those 4, but I think this is kind of cool. So, obviously, the gift shopping, the crowds and lines, cleaning, knowing what to get people, cooking, shopping for food. See, I love that, but I know a lot of people don't. Decorating. All this stuff, it's like you have to do it, but, you can make fun. You can make it fun.
Well, when I was married, we had tree trimming. We would come over to a friend's house and help deck their tree, and then they come over to our house and they do our tree.
Yeah, just get creative. I think
make it an event.
Wrapping presents. Well, I don't wrap presents. I get them wrapped. Because they, some of these stores have
Free wrapping.
Yeah. So why not?
Yeah.
But we already talked politics. What food to prepare. That's kind of easy, but some people don't like certain things. Now, we talked about Christmas music, how we love it. Well, I think it was a week before Thanksgiving, and one of the stations, that's all they play is Christmas music. So you turn it on around that time, and it's really great and fun and festive. And by the time Christmas rolls around, you're like, I can't stand one more time. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas. So, that gets stressful.
Oh, come on, Santa baby.
Santa baby. Yeah, right. And then we talked about arguments, the old things that people, still have a chip on their shoulder for. The other thing is someone drinking too much. That happens. And then things, and then it gets ugly. Yeah, absolutely. You just talked about the credit card. Did we tell our audience about that?
We did. And then the big debate. Okay, what are we going to spend? And you know what? As much as we hate the B word, budget, it makes sense. Most people spend, Halloween is the second biggest quote holiday
That's crazy.
of the year. So you got Halloween, and then 3 weeks, 4 weeks later, you got Thanksgiving,
and then
you got
Christmas.
So in about 2 months' time, literally, you've got some big expenditures if you go all out for all these things. So you want to, and you know what is a really interesting thing, and it's frowned upon, but I don't have any problem with it. Regifting.
Oh, I don't have any problem.
What if you
with
got
that
a really
either.
cool gift and it's like, I don't really like this, or it's not going to fit me, or I don't like it, or whatever. So you know what? If for somebody else, who's going to know? Who's going to care? Right?
I'm going to regift
As long as
something
you change
to you,
the
honey.
label, you change the card it goes to. It isn't Uncle Fred anymore, but
Yeah, but you also mentioned that people put their gifts on credit cards.
Mm-hmm.
So talk a little bit about that.
Well, banks years ago used to have a Christmas account.
Yes.
Where you would take a little bit of money on a monthly basis, and it's just an example. $50. Okay, you're not going to lose. $50. That's a little over $10 a week, right?
It was called their Christmas account.
Christmas account, and so by Christmas you had $600, $700 that you could $600 that you could spend toward Christmas. So therefore, you've saved all year, and then there's your budget for spending for Christmas, and you're done, and you rinse and repeat the next year.
And all in cash.
And therefore, it's done. It's paid for. It's all in cash, and there's no debt. But of course, now with the advent of credit cards and Black Friday and Cyber Monday and my goodness,
0% down and blah blah blah.
Right. And oh my goodness, we got to have this and we got to need it. And I was talking before the show that I know families that, for example, they're going to buy a gift and they know darn well it's going to be cheaper the day after Christmas.
Yes.
Seriously? Okay, so you put a picture of it and you stick it in their stocking, or you give it to them with a card. Hey, you know what? I'm getting this for you, but it's not coming today. It'll be here tomorrow.
Or you can pick it out yourself.
Or
Here's
go
your
get it
gift card.
yourself. Here's
Yeah.
a gift card, okay? So the point is, don't get sucked into all the shenanigans that these retailers want. Because, yeah, granted, Christmas time is the big, big time. But you know what? Do it on your terms, not theirs. So if you're going to buy a TV or some appliance or something like that, chances are it's going to be cheaper the day after Christmas.
Yeah, especially if you are good with online shopping, you can compare, right there, right on your computer. So, either that or go into the stores too.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, holiday stress. What is it really anyway? What does it feel like? I mean, there's physical symptoms of the holiday blues, holiday stress, and a couple of different things. Headaches is one. You can't sleep. You're really tired. You have an upset stomach. Sounds like me every day, actually. Not really, but those are pretty debilitating, especially if you're trying to have Christmas.
Yeah, having that migraine's no picnic.
No. So, if you can not get too tied up with everything has to be perfect and you have all this stuff to do and all of that, you can avoid those physical symptoms. Some of the things that you can do, other than what we've talked about on managing holiday stress, is plan ahead. Don't just go, it's December 1st, I need to start Christmas. Make lists, make gift lists, make food lists, make recipe lists. And that way you'll have everything planned, ready to go, have a timeline, and it won't be as stressful at all.
One of the tricks in that, and that's a trick to reduce stress, is to systemize things.
Yeah.
Okay? You're not thinking, you're just following the bouncing ball. So if you have a system, hey, this is what I'm going to go, this is where I'm going to go, this is what I'm going to get, and this is what I'm going to spend. You now have it down and it's systemized, if you will, and you don't have to think about it anymore, and it's not stressful. You're just going and following the bouncing ball and going and doing it.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to say for that, for lists. And the one thing that you have to remember in terms of your list is to put yourself on it.
Yep.
Even though you're probably
get a massage.
Even though you're easier to shop for.
Get a manicure. So the other thing I wanted to talk about was, okay, so, making this budget. You told me before the show that 20%.
20%.
Of people don't. No. What's the 20%? The credit card.
28% of Americans haven't paid off their Christmas debt from last year.
Right. I mean, that's a big deal.
It's a big number.
Yeah. So if you don't do it one year and then you don't do it the next one, the next, that's 60%. But then it's not just 60% because it kind of what's it called? When the interest rates, kind of on top of interest rates.
Well, it's compounding.
Compounding, yes. So what do you want to say anything
Well,
about
I was going to say, set a budget. I mean, for example, for me, I use 3 credit cards. I have one for my car expenses, one for personal expenses, and one for business expenses. So at the end of the year in tax time, it's easier to do. But if you've got a credit card or a budget, say, hey, I'm going to spend X amount of dollars, and that's it. You know what? We've talked about saying no and setting boundaries. That means you're going to spend what you're going to spend. And you know what? The cliche phrase is, it's the thought that counts, but it has a lot of merit. You know what? Why not make things? Get together with some friends and make something. You know what? In many instances, it has a lot more emphasis and is a lot better. For example, my daughters, one was a model back in the day and one's a photographer. So every Christmas, they make a photo of them together in some setting.
Yeah.
And that's their Christmas present. And everybody looks forward to because every year they're older and, it's a different setting and it's different. It doesn't cost a whole lot to go take a picture and then, blow it up and give it to people. Maybe you got to spend a little bit on frames or something. But you know what? It's something that is a tradition. It's simple. and it's
And it's
something
personal.
and it's very personal, and it's something that you enjoy looking at because for 10 years, oh look, they looked this way 10 years ago, and look, they look now, right? And then 10 years from now, so it's just a really cool thing that we all look forward to every year.
So, and I recently became a photographer. I had no idea that I could be a photographer,
Yes.
but 5 years ago I started taking pictures, and I'm gotten pretty good at
Hey,
it.
some of those shots are phenomenal.
And so, what I'm doing with my pictures, which are mine, no one else's, is I'm choosing different shots for my friends, blowing them up, putting them on frames, and then giving them as gifts. So if someone has a pink bathroom, I'll have a pink rose or whatever, that kind of thing. The other thing I also did was I took a cooking class and learned how to make well, it's easy to make chocolate chip cookies, pretty much, but to make fudge and toffee, and those are, they're just fun little gifts versus, having to get the perfect cashmere slippers or whatever. I just think that getting a painting from someone, or a picture blown up to look like a painting is very personal, and
It is, and some of the stuff you've taken is amazing.
yeah, and so I feel pride in it, and they do too.
Yes. And so again, you can start little traditions, and that aren't expensive, but are going to have an impact, and obviously aren't very expensive. And yeah, it takes a little creativity, but you got all year, and you
You
can get some
do.
ideas from others. One of the things, women suffer from holiday stress way more than us guys do. One, we're notorious for compartmentalizing. I know you gals hate that, but we do.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, I mean, we got a mess at work, and we're able to take that whole shebang and put it aside, and most of the time come home and deal with the mess in the family. No,
Well,
I'm
and I
sorry.
don't mean to be sexist, but women, it's kind of, I'm going to get yelled at here from you guys listening, but it's always been sort of the women's job to make the holiday
True.
cooking and shopping and all of that stuff. And I think, what does the man do? I think he carves the turkey. That's about it.
We put up the Christmas lights, and
Oh, that's right.
and we hope we don't take them down in July.
You do that, and you're watching football
Yeah, watch football. But the one thing is you want to do, and again, this is along the lines of expectations, and this is, I say this to people a lot all year long, is you do not want to should on yourself. Okay?
That's SHOULD.
That's correct. So I should have my neighbors over for a drink. I should make gingerbread house for the kids. I should have baked shortbread and make the cookies and have them look perfect and have Christmas cake and ornaments around and don't should in yourself. You again know your limitations. And what's crazy in all this is we have to work.
Well, yeah. On top of that, everyone has jobs, right?
We got to go to work. So again, the word is boundaries. Maybe we're only going to go 1 or 2 Christmas parties this year, or you know what, we had 50 people over last year. Let's knock it down to 40.
And, even if you think that you can get it done, and you always do, you still get it done, and you're totally stressed and freaked out and can't sleep. So just remember that you can cut it back.
You can. I mean,
You can.
for years when I was married, literally we are at my parents' house wrapping presents until 3 or 4 in the morning.
And is that necessary?
I gave up. I was like, no, the kids are just going to rip it open. And
Exactly.
It's just, not that you don't want to wrap it, but it's like, really? Every tiny little gift that's in the stocking? Okay.
Yes, but the kids liked it, I'm sure.
Of course they did. But, we're not trying to cut corners here. It's about, thinking of yourself, managing it because it's a marathon, not a race, and setting boundaries and being sure that you are not going to be just an absolute sick basket case because you burnt the candle on 3 ends.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the things that I've learned lately that really makes a difference in my life is when you slow down and, take a nap or take a walk or whatever, be grateful. Be grateful that you have the means to have Christmas, that you can buy the presents, that you can cook the food and buy the food and have a home to have the food, because it'll make such a difference. You know, you're stressed out over what? Christmas?
Yeah.
You know, it's
The attitude of gratitude
Yeah.
is good every day, not just around the holidays.
Absolutely.
And one of the words is being mindful,
Mm-hmm.
right? You know, take it all in. I mean, you know, yeah, your Aunt Betty is, you know, going to be what she is, but you know what? She's your aunt. So, you know, just take it with a stride. And the thing is, let's talk about some ways to fight holiday stress, because I mean, we know it's there. So how do we combat it? One of the scary things is called SAD, SAD, which stands for seasonal affective disorder.
really, so there's like
Yes.
an actual thing.
Yeah, it impacts a lot of Americans every year, and the way to do it is to really go outside and get sunlight, because it increases your ability to have serotonin.
And I think
And
that's
it's a natural way to do it, of course.
anytime.
Oh, absolutely. But as I said earlier, just jump out and go outside. Being outside and walking around and seeing the grass. I used to go on walks years ago, and my joke is that when we go for walks and see the Christmas lights at night, you always see that deer that moves, you know, and it's sitting, kind of looks like it's eating and moving around. And my joke is the reason why it's eating so much is because it's stuck in a box for 11 months out of the year, and it has to make sure it's got enough food to last him 11 months before he comes out of the box for Christmas.
Or you might have had a little bit too much eggnog. We're not sure.
So you know what? And so the point is, just get outside, get out. Maybe a little more than normal, just to break up the monotony of all the stress. I gotta get some air. I gotta get out. It's okay. Take the kids with you, as I said. You know what? Citrus is a really helpful and a great thing too. Lemon and oranges. It's also extremely antioxidant.
Yeah.
But even just a little citrus fragrance or some aromatherapy, that it has a calming effect as well. And lavender, of
Absolutely.
course, is huge for throwing in your bathtub. And again, taking naps, because again, that's going to boost your serotonin, and it really is going to increase in your mood and whatnot. If you're simply flippin' exhausted, you know what? In an extreme example, go in your car, close the door, put the seat back, and just chill for 20 minutes. Okay? You're in your own little safe environment. And you know what? You can tell everybody, hey, I got to run a quick errand. So just run out in the car and
was
take
my
a nap.
errand.
And that's your errand, okay?
Yeah.
No, but trust me, you will feel better. You'll come back refreshed. Even if you just walk out and hang out in your car for 20 minutes and you come back, you've got a totally different perspective of what's going on, and you're going to be better able to deal with whatever it is that was stressing you out before.
So, and I love this Chinese medicine approach. Explain that. What do you squeeze?
Well, this one is Hoku, Hoku.
Yes.
Okay, that is the space between your thumb and your index finger. Okay, so you're squeezing this very hard. Now, what that does is it's the fleshy place between your index finger and your thumb, and it's with traditional Chinese medicine. Applying pressure there for 30 seconds can reduce stress and tension in your upper body, as well as while you're doing it, you take some deep breaths.
Love that. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty cool.
So anytime you feel stressed, even if you're at work and you're sitting at your desk and you're just going, holy smokes, it's just getting to me, and you just can't leave, just close your eyes, take some deep breaths. We've done meditation. We take some cleansing breaths,
Yes.
where you can take a deep breath through your mouth and you exhale through your nose, and you can skip the om part.
No,
And
that's
squeeze and squeeze the space, the fleshy part between your index finger and
I love
your thumb.
I love that. I love.
And it's
to
good
get
for
it
headaches too.
massaged,
It's good for headaches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing, and I don't know how to explain this to people listening, but to cool yourself off, if you curl your tongue, sort of like how do you describe this?
Well, you make a U with your tongue, and you've got
Yeah.
the microphone in front of you, so make sure they can see it.
You make a U with your tongue,
If you can. Some people can't.
like that, and you breathe in and out. Doesn't that sound cool? Anyway, what it does is it cools you off. I swear to God, if you are sitting there, whether, you're having a hot flash or just hot because it's hot in the kitchen. If you do that, even if it's just a couple of breaths, it's amazing. It cools you off. You have to try that.
I'm going to throw one out that if you have a partner, I would encourage you tremendously is to schedule some intimate time.
Ah, yes.
Because seriously, as you probably know, having sex is a wonderful stress reliever.
Ah, sex.
Yes,
Oh.
sex.
Okay.
You know what? And you can.
We're talking to women over 50.
So what? Be a little creative. Maybe break it up a little bit. Have something to look forward to, or something that, oh my gosh, I just had a great time for 20 minutes, and I feel so wonderful.
20 minutes, man. Whew. So,
was that too long?
depends on who you're with.
So, and again, one of the suggestions here in terms of stress is start traditions.
Yeah.
Okay? I mean, baking cookies is one thing, but you know what? And if you're lonely, go experiment with different cultures and different things that they do. And that alone is, and maybe find a new tradition that you like. I mean, we're talking about the Chinese thing for relieving stress. There's more to the world than just us, right?
Yeah. The other thing that that I think I'm going to do this year, and a lot of people do this, is they go away for the holidays,
Yes.
so they don't have to deal with inviting people and cleaning their house and making a list and cooking and all that. Is go skiing or go to a restaurant even. I know that's pretty sacrilegious, I guess.
But there's no dishes to clean.
Yeah.
It's you can budget it, really, and sometimes it's cheaper.
A lot of times it's cheaper.
I mean, seriously, it's cheaper, and everybody's there. And one thing I would strongly encourage, and we talked about this earlier, being stressed out with technology, is if you go for dinner or even at a restaurant, take everybody's cell phone and stack it if you want, and they can't bear not to even have it nearby and see it. Stack it in the middle of the table.
Yep.
And this is a non-Christmas recommendation, but take all those cell phones and stack it in the middle of the table. So now everybody is forced not to worry about all the dings and the emojis and all that jazz that's going on, and that we're so conditioned to, oh my gosh, I'm going to miss out. You know what? That sucker could sit for 24 hours and you wouldn't miss a thing. And whoever has to pull the phone out before dinner, lunch is over, they're the ones that have to pay for the meal.
That's a good one. Or
dessert or big tip or whatever. So there's a penalty for not leaving your phone alone.
Okay. For leaving.
Because, I mean, my goodness, we all go to restaurants, right?
Yeah.
And what do we always see? Everybody is just, their head is just buried in these stupid phones.
Yeah.
Why don't you look into the eyes of the person next to you or across from you? The relationship is with the person that's there, not the one that's who knows where.
Yep, absolutely. And I also think the whole gratitude thing. You're really grateful for everything that you have and everything that you can do for this holiday, that it shouldn't be stressful, but also go and volunteer. There's so many people that don't have a Christmas, that can't afford to put food on the table, that have never had a Christmas gift, or, once every 5 years or whatever. I think giving back like that just changes the whole scenario for Christmas, holiday blues, stress, all of that. It's gone in an instant when you do that.
Oh, I agree. You know what? I mean, every time, even waking up in the morning and just being grateful for the fact you're in your bed, that it took you a whole 6, 7, 8 hours to make that pillow that's underneath your head just perfect. A roof over your head, the fact that you can go use the bathroom. I mean, simple stuff, okay?
That a lot of people don't have.
Attitude of gratitude, in terms of, if you look at it from the law of attraction, if you're grateful for things, you will end up getting more of the things you are grateful for.
Yeah.
And we get what we focus on. So if you're focused on, being stressed and being angry and being this and being that, or stuff you don't want, like bills, we end up with more because we've focused on that. So
Yeah.
again, if you focus on attitude of gratitude, it really pays huge dividends. And I can't stress enough, get exercise. Just because
Yes.
your family is here, this, that, and the other, again, maybe you can't make it to the gym, but throw your tennis shoes on and go for a brisk walk for a little bit. It will help stress. And you know what? We're all gain weight over the holidays. Not that we have to. It's funny. My sister, everybody talks about gaining weight on cruises. We were talking about cruises a little while ago. My sister and their cousin and my mom and my aunt went on a cruise, and my sister and her cousin got a personal trainer, and they literally worked on the personal trainer for the whole time of the cruise, and they lost 5 pounds in a
That's
week.
so cool. Well, I mean,
So exercise.
but that's another thing is don't have that Christmas. Go on a cruise. That's what I might do.
There you go. And if you book it late, you can get a steal of a deal.
I know.
So yeah, thinking positive and having attitude of gratitude, even though that Aunt Uncle Fred is just a pain in the butt. You know what? It's still helpful to, be grateful for his stupid jokes and the fact that he, can't not put a cigar down or whatever it is.
And it might change. It might change your whole opinion about him.
Yes. Yes. And I think that's about it, unless you have anything else to add, subtract, multiply.
Well, what
or
do you
divide.
want for Christmas?
Oh, I just want world peace.
Big. That's a big Christmas gift, buddy.
Seriously, I'm just grateful for all I have, and I'm just grateful for family. And what do I want? I'm good. I mean, my joke is
good.
that my daughter's actually take and return all my phone calls, and
That's your big Christmas
I'm a blessed
present.
guy. Yeah,
Aw.
yeah.
How sweet.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas to you. We've got a few more shows between now and then, so this is
Or
take
happy
this to heart.
happy holidays. Then.
Oh my goodness, I'm so tired of happy holidays. It's being jammed down our throats.
So
Come on.
what
It's
do you
not-
want to say?
It's not a holiday vacation. It's a Christmas vacation. In fact, if you use holiday vacation in England, that's what they do in the summertime. So they laugh at
Okay,
us.
but their holidays meaning like Thanksgiving and Christmas and Ramadan or Hanukkah or a bunch of holidays.
There are.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's supposed to be a fun time. And if you have the attitude of fun and you look at it as not as a mission, but something that, it's a marathon, it can be fun.
Definitely fun.
Yeah. So thanks for listening. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for liking. If you want to write us, you have a suggestion for a show, you can write us at info@hotflashuniverse.net, and we look at everything that comes in.
That's right.
And hopefully maybe next time we'll get some phone calls. But thanks so much, folks, for being a part of our show, and we'll catch you next time.
And don't get stressed.
Don't get fatigued either.